Hey everyone, we're back in the lab today to learn more about the testing capabilities that we have, whether you want to get the full-blown COVID test or the antibody test we are now offering here at Singing River Health System. So we'll learn about that in just a bit, but first we'll kick it to Lee for the stats today.
All right, Sarah, today we remained flat. We had 5 positive tests in the last 32 hours or so, I guess you'd say. We did go over 6,000 tests done, so again, it's a function of the number of tests that we're doing, which is a lot. Virginia, I think we did over 100 again yesterday, so a lot more testing going on. It's going to result in more, but we'll talk more later about things people need to keep doing to be careful. But I am very excited today to be here with these guys to talk about a very hot topic, and that is the differences between the antibody test and the PCR swab test. So we're here with Heath Thompson, who runs the Ocean Springs Hospital, is also over all the ancillary areas, and Virginia, who directs our lab. So if we would, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with this testing world?
All right, so let's talk about testing. The most common that you hear about on the news all the time that people are getting tested that are having symptoms is the PCR.
That's the swab that you stick in your nose.
That is the swab. Think of that as the swab. And we'll go ahead and show you what that giant Q-tip looks like.
And Virginia says it's technically called the what?
This is the nasopharyngeal swab that we go into the back of your nasal cavity, which is called the nasopharyngeal. That's where your viruses live. It's cold, it's dark. That's where we're going to catch the active infection, and that's where you're going to be shedding. So this is placed in your nasal cavity all the way back into that area, and then it's put back into the little container and sent to the lab for us to test.
Funny you say that, Virginia. I'll just interject real quick. The most important person to wear a mask is people that have some COVID in their nasopharyngeal area, because you don't want that to come out and get on someone else.
Correct.
Masks are for the protection of others, and a person who has the virus and could be shedding, a key word you used, that's the person who needs the mask the most to keep from spreading it. But anyway, back to
so the
you in the studio.
PCR, at a molecular level, it detects if you have the actual virus material in you, you have the infection.
Right.
When you go over to antibody, also called serology, because serology is the liquid part of the blood, which is like plasma, also called plasma.
The serum.
And so the serum is why they call it serology testing. This test really is helpful to see if you may have been exposed and had the virus in the past.
Gotcha.
So it measures antibodies in your blood, and it's a blood draw instead of a nasal.
So and tell us also about, it seems like just about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, the accuracy in the world of that was relatively low. In fact, we advise people not to even get it.
Correct.
But now,
Well, yeah, and just 2 weeks ago, the FDA released a list of kits that they took off the market. There was 24 kits, so be very, very careful with those. Now, our antibody test that we do run in-house is 99.8% specific for this virus. The FDA, the minimum requirements for that is 95. So we always go out for the best test, and we are glad that we waited and held off so we can offer you the best quality test.
And then the sensitivity is another marker. This is 100% sensitive, and that is good because you don't want it picking up something else like a common cold.
right.
That you want to know is sensitive to the correct measure. So we made a little science project
Yeah,
here
I see that.
kind of showed it. So the PCR, you're in the active phase of having symptoms, and that DNA material can be detected by the PCR.
So if you're feeling some fever, fatigue, cough, and all of that, your doctor's gonna send you for the PCR nasopharyngeal swab.
Correct.
Right. And then when you get into the post-infection phase, you don't know if you've had the infection or not, you want to know, has your body developed antibodies against the virus?
Right.
And the most common one's IgG. So about 14 days after being exposed and having it, this elevates, and it's what people are saying, oh, I have immunity. And
Right.
this is how you find out.
Okay.
You have the IgG, and we don't know how long it goes, but it could go for many months.
So tell us a little bit about, Virginia, you were talking earlier when we were walking up to this area about, when someone would want to get this test, which one. So tell us a little bit about how they overlap a little bit.
So basically, if you have the symptoms, you might as well go ahead and order the PCR, the polymerase chain reaction test. That is going to tell you right then and there if you're actively and diagnose you that you are positive. If you are asymptomatic and you just want to know, or you think
You're just curious.
you're just curious, you
Did I
want to go
have
for
it?
that antibody test.
So-
Virginia, we have a question. They want to know the name of this antibody test that we're offering.
Total
Total
antibody.
antibody, and it is on our Siemens Atelica analyzer, but it's a total antibody.
SARS-CoV-2 total antibody.
So it's a total antibody to the SARS-2.
And what was PCR? You said that already. The nasal swab. I thought it was pro cowboy rodeo
So
test.
it's polymerase chain reaction. That is what we actually are doing. That's the science behind of what we do. So we break down that RNA in your virus, and our technology actually checks 2 targets. So our PCR test in-house is very specific since we're measuring 2 RNA measurements.
So if I was just curious, maybe I feel great now, but I thought I might have had it a month ago or whatever. That would be more appropriate for the antibody test.
Correct.
And the PCR test, that's going to tell you if you've got it now. So technically, you could come in and have the antibody test, and let's say you test negative. That means you don't have it and you haven't had it, right?
Correct. Most
But-
likely.
But if you come in and you test positive under the antibody, whether you're active or not, you would also then have to have the PCR test.
Yes, you and your
To show if you're
provider.
currently
Yes,
active
your
or
provider
shedding.
more likely will go ahead and reflex to a nasopharyngeal collection to verify if you are still active. If you're in this phase right here.
Right, so if you're trying to return to work, you want to go travel, you want to visit your grandmother or somebody who is at high risk, but you haven't had any symptoms, go get the antibody test.
Correct. It's a lot quicker. We've had this incident for the past 2 weekends. Hey, Virginia, can you rush my test? Got to see my grandbaby. That PCR, it's still going to be a 1 to 2 day turnaround time. The best method right now would probably start off with that antibody test.
And how much is that?
So we offer cash pay prices. Your insurance should pay for it, depending on how the provider orders and diagnoses it. But
Yeah,
The insurance pays for the PCR test as well. And we also, don't we have a grant that covers that for most
You
people?
know, the PCR, you'll notice when we do our drive-through testing, like we did at the fairgrounds, we have another one scheduled for the 26th of this month at Van Cleve. Will be announced.
Excellent.
And it'd be no out-of-pocket, insurance or not, when you come through for that.
So you don't need to order anything for the antibody test? Do you need to order for
You
it?
need to
Yeah.
order,
For
you gotta
the
go
order,
to,
yes. But for this PCR, we are going to Van Cleve on the 26th, and those will be no order is needed for that. That will be for the PCR and no out-of-pocket expense.
so let's say I can't make it to that, then I need an order. To Sarah's point, where can I go to get an order?
Any of our Singing River Health System clinics. We
895,000.
offer both of these types of testing at all our clinics.
All right. I want to mention one other thing. You mentioned asymptomatic earlier, or symptoms. And there's been a lot of debate about that still. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. And as we noted, the World Health Organization put out the study that said that it was very rare that there is asymptomatic contagion. Our contact tracing actually shows the same thing as the World Health Organization said. Now, there's a lot of debate about it out there. Our thinking on that is clearly most of it is spread, again, proof for our contact tracing, through people who are clearly shedding, people who are coughing. So rather than worrying about a person that you might be around is asymptomatic and has it, if we focus a little more on when somebody has symptoms. We have a case just yesterday where someone thought they had sinus problems. If you think you have symptoms, call us and get set up to get tested, because that seems to be far and away the more likely scenario. A person with symptoms is going to shed and give that to you. And people sometimes say, well, I'm asymptomatic, I felt fine. Well, if you've got a 2-degree temperature, you're not asymptomatic. If you have a dry cough and fatigue, you're not asymptomatic. Those are symptoms, and I think that's the problem of the definition.
I agree with you, Lee. And the days of working through a common cold or a sinus infection and going to work, those days are over. They could be COVID, and you could be infecting people who are at high risk,
Absolutely.
or spreading it to a whole business or workplace or church. So really, if you have just even the minorest symptoms, Go get tested.
That is very well said, because that's how we can stop the spread. If someone thinks they have symptoms, come get tested, and that way you know, and you can isolate from everyone. That is to us the most
You
critical
want to get back
thing.
out into the real
Yeah.
world? You want to not have another resurgence of this virus in the fall? Go get tested the first time that you feel just
Right.
a little uneasy.
If someone coughs, duck and run, and tell them to go get tested.
So another plug for blood donation. We
Yep.
continue to need blood donors. And
June 19th.
June 19th. Look how cool this shirt is.
If you want a free antibody test,
And-
go give blood.
Thank you, Sarah. You will get a free antibody test included when you donate
And that's
blood.
in Pascagoula, and they can go to our Facebook page and get details on that?
Yes, we have a
Okay.
couple blood drives coming up. We're going to be having them all summer long. The next one will be next Friday at the First Presbyterian Church in Pascagoula from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll send out the link so you can go and schedule the time that's right for you to make sure that we're socially
I went
distancing.
and I went to the one last week and was able to go in the portal and look at my antibody test, and it was negative.
You're going to have to teach me how to do that.
So I think I have not been exposed.
I noticed
but,
you haven't been coughing
Yeah.
or had any fatigue or fever, so.
Also, you get a free cholesterol check, but my cholesterol went up just a little, so I got to work on that. But
It's-
So look,
Good
go ahead.
news.
And also, just for us here in the lab, we are the blood bankers. We bring that blood in. I need to remind everyone that we buy our blood products from the blood center. There's plenty of other blood centers that come through on the coast, but the blood center supplies your local hospitals. That's where we need you, our community, to get out there and
Absolutely.
donate to our supplier.
Yep. As Dr.
Thank
Finan said last week, that's the biggest thing you can do. If you know somebody that's got COVID, cancer, or anything, do that for them. But anyway, we appreciate you guys and what you do. Thanks for all the science behind this. We're so lucky to have, great people like you guys on our team, and all the other people in the lab that are here that work to get these tests back quickly and accurately. It's a big deal for our community, and we deeply appreciate it. And thank y'all for helping to keep us singing over strong.